Here we go. Oops. There we go. Now I got light. Good morning, YouTube. Come on, down. There we go. We're in the dark. Why are we in the dark? It's because we're trying to get power back to our lights. So we just got the new power panel in. I have the conduit. We'll probably do most of this after we get the power on. But got the conduit over and tied into where it came in from the outside. So now we're trying to get this done because we have our water furnace in. So it's not completely done, but it's getting close. So we're trying to get that to where we can power it up and test it. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're getting a temporary box. Well, it'll probably be a permanent box. That's going to be our box that we're going to plug our lights back into. So that's what we're trying to get going right now. So here we go. So that we can get this all wired up to the correct places. I'm gonna take this up to where I think code says it has to be like a 1/2 inch, something like that.
Linn County code says.
Yeah, Linn County didn't have it.
Just has to be wired.
In true Sparky fashion, you take all your excess and you throw it on the ground.
And call it progress.
Progress. Okay, so I'm gonna lay all my grounds down on this panel, which goes into the yellow, which is tied into ground. I got my colored tape to retape these, so that's gonna get green. And then my neutrals go over here. Those are gonna be the white wires. And then the black wires will go into the back of the breaker. And I'm trying to label or run my grounds and neutrals as far down as I can. I didn't quite get these long enough, but it's what we had cut it off at. So the reason is that if I ever need to do a arc fault, change any of these out for an arc fault, then the white wire has to go back up into your breaker. So we need to make sure if these are coming all the way down to here, regardless of where the breaker is, I will be able to take that white wire and go back up to it. So that's the goal there. Now, these are bonded in this panel. Since this is the main panel coming in, then there are different schools of thought as to whether these two should be bonded, because they're also bonded out at the meter, but the meter is not on the side of the house. The meter is, if the meter was on the side of the house, we would definitely not bond these because they would be bonded at the meter. Bonding means you connect them together. So neutral, this is a current carrying neutral, and this is earth ground. But since our meter is across the driveway, then some would call that a new entrance. And then at your first disconnect at your new entrance, you bond them. I do not have my ground cable going to the outside yet. So that will tie into this. It'll be a number 4 gauge wire, and it will go out to 2 ground bars driven in the ground out there. So for now, at least, I'm bonding these, but I'm gonna take all of my grounds and lay them on one side, all of my neutrals on the other. If at any time in the future I need to unbond them, I can just take out one of the bonding screws and it would separate the ground from the current carrying neutral. In a sub panel, like when I run this on out to the garage, it definitely does not need to be bonded, and you don't want it bonded, because if you have anything that happens to your neutral in a sub panel, if they're bonded, then you will start carrying current on your ground, and that can be a dangerous situation if you're carrying current on your ground that is not accidental or fault current. So that's why you don't bond a sub panel inside of a building. So yeah, since this is the first entrance from going underground for quite a ways, we're going to bond them together. Okay. Why aren't you going? There it goes. Oops, sorry, Lex. Boing.
Now, what's the reason you're not putting those two together over there?
I don't think you're supposed to actually double up on those. I know that a lot of people do.
I was gonna say, I've seen a lot of boxes that are. That's why I'm asking you why you're not.
Yeah. I need to look that up and see if that's code or not, because I've heard that that is not. And then I'm leaving the service loop, which that'll piss some people off. Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure that out as I get the rest of my leads down here, but this will work for today. Okay. That's gonna go over to there. Load out of the back. This. Go like that.
So, do you have the numbers you want over there?
No, not the ones I want, but the ones that'll work for today.
No, little things like that don't annoy me. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, yeah.
I also need to get a Roberts screwdriver. Roberts, the square head. In fact, I have one. Okay, so this panel came with this guy as the lug. Oh, excuse me, the lug over here. I'll probably put it on, but I'll move it up to somewhere, and that will be where I run my ground, the 4-gauge ground to. And so this guy was for this ground to go into. This is our, no, that's neutral. That's earth ground. Okay, so it was for that to go into, and you can see that that cable is much bigger than that hole. So I had to run into the hardware store and grab one of these, replaced it, but it needed a 5/8 Allen.
5/16.
5/16. That's the second time I've done that today.
Yes, it is.
5/8 would be a lot bigger. 5/16 Allen, and where did that not go? I did not have a 5/16 Allen, so
We went to the shop and manufactured one.
we did.
I think you might need to organize a little bit.
I did.
Okay.
It was in here.
Did you lose the one you made?
Yeah,
Oh shit.
Well, it's in 2 pieces now, so
it is.
Because you broke it?
Oh, I broke it.
it only had to work once.
Oh.
Not real sure what that's for. I'll put it at the bottom there. All right, it's kind of like this. So we went up and we got a screw because it was the only 5/16 head that we could get. And they will, if you turn a bolt around or a hex head around, you can use it as an Allen. But then we took a nut and welded it onto the screw head or screw body and then twisted it until, well, the screw broke. So it's good and tight. Good and tight. It's a German spec. Good and tight. Much better. Look at that. Click.
I'm just standing here watching. So.
Okay, that'll work for now. Now we need to get rid of those. Okay, so white to the silver, and that is too long. If I'm not gonna put a hook on it. Can you hand me the,
What you need?
they might be in my,
Why'd you hook
they're in my pouch. I feel like a kangaroo.
Where's your work paper?
It was moldy, and I took it to wash it, and it never made it past the
The apron.
yeah, the apron. It never made it out of the Duke to go get washed.
Was it loading from sweat or from?
No, we got wet in the garage before we had the roof on.
Gotcha.
All right, so the neutral goes on the silver screws, which is also always the same size as the earth ground, because sometimes that's hard to tell. And then the hot or the black goes on the gold screws. So when you make your hooks, I didn't make that one quite long enough, did I? Wrap them clockwise around the screws so that as you tighten the screw head down, it continues to pull the wire around instead of push the wire off of the screw as you tighten it down. If you put it the other way, as you tighten it down, it just wants to push it off because you're pushing against the loose end. Yeah, I'll take that out and put it in. That should work. So these are rated for 2. One 14.2 up to 2 12.3, and we're running 12.3, so I can get 2 per deal. I don't know if those are actually rated for 2.
Is there a code on each way to place the plug?
It's actually not listed in code. Commercial does ground up. Residential usually does ground down. There are schools of thought that say that the ground up keeps you from accidentally dropping something and arcing across. But all of your transformers that plug in and all of your right-angled plugs that plug in work better if the ground's down because they go down and hang better. So it's one of those do it however you wish type deals. Wow. I think I'm gonna need some glasses before I. Oh, sorry.
Do the rest of the box.
Yeah. And I'm just tightening the other screws down just enough to make them sure they don't back out. Okay, that'll work. Progress. So these guys have wings that you can snap off. This is for when you go up against drywall, it lines it up on the flush edge of the drywall. But you gotta snap them off when we're going into this box because they won't fit underneath that cover plate.
How does it secure into the cover plate?
And technically, it's a metal box. I should have grounded that son of a bitch.
Catch.
All right, so this one's definitely a temporary box. Okay,
You want some power?
let me get the tools out of here.
Probably have that done by the time I look out.
Yeah, I should. Oh, hang on. Let me get the tape on these before you do that.
If something did go wrong, what would happen?
Probably lots of sparks.
Okay.
Yay! All right, if you can read that, it says 124.2.1, 124 volts. So that is one of the power legs to ground. That is the other power leg to ground. So it's 124. Now we're going to do power leg to neutral, which again, these are bonded here and out there, but all right, so both of those checked out. So now I should have 240 across these. Hey, there we go. 250, 248. Rock on. All right, so now when I throw this on, so right now, ground to either one of these, I don't have anything, no juice. All right, so then whack. Now, both of these are energized. One of these is off of this leg, one of these is off of this leg, and when you plug in a breaker, the first breaker will go on this leg, the second breaker will go on that leg. When you plug in a 220 breaker, it's a double breaker, it goes across these two, and so when you go across those two, you get 240. So all of your dryers and ovens and stuff like that that take a lot of juice, they're all 240 volt. And so that's how you get your 240 volt, is from this leg to that leg. So there we go. So, oh, I didn't check these. Well, that's not good. What's up with that? Breaker feels like it barely trips. All right, so ground to hot. No juice. That's why. Okay. Still no juice. I just had, I'm on DC. That's more like it.
Did you click something?
Yeah, my multimeter, when I turned it off, when I turn it back on, it goes to voltage DC. And I had to hit a button to get it to go to AC. Hey, there we go, look at that.
Lights.
Okay. I will need to redo that. I probably should do that in conduit anyway.
That's the right one, isn't it?
Then I have to pull the chain.
Or flip the switch. Doesn't have a chain. There we go.
Okay. Now I get to put the cover plate on.
Ooh, fancy.
Fancy.
Now you get it count and see which ones you need to knock out.
Oh, shit. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the right hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, so
Get them?
And the next one down, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay.
a toothbrush?
So when you're using aluminum wire especially, you're required to use Novox, Noalox. Sorry, I'll look away.
That's right.
Anyway, this keeps the aluminum from oxidizing and corroding, and it makes it to where oxidation will increase the resistance of the connection. And you're supposed to work it in with a toothbrush. Well, I didn't have a toothbrush, so I needed to change my heads on my Sonicare anyway, so I just used it.
I had an old toothbrush if you needed that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't ask.
Good to know. Okay.
So it's code to use a screwdriver, not a drill. Or an impact.
I have no idea.
I was just wondering because I've never seen you use a screwdriver this much with an impact.
Hey, I got them in the right spot. And then I put my screws inside. Bless it.
Can we hold those?
Please. Thanks.
You left two. Oh, those are both.
Yeah, they're for other stuff. So let's start doing electric, and Ernest will need to. Okay. Coffee time.